Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Alejandro Bernard. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We are working on some jazz piano, continuing my free beginning jazz piano course, and we are in lesson 4, where we're working through Misty, and I'm answering some community questions. And as always, there's sheet music in the description, so that can help you follow along at home. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who's watching. I look at my analytics, and while there is a dip in view count, there is an increase in the amount of time spent watching. So I think the people who are watching this content really want to be here, and that's who I appreciate. So thank you so much for showing up. It sounds like you're getting something out of it. And on the side, my Patreon page was able to get another member this month. So it's very exciting. I was going to put it out there that if you're interested to support me, however how big, however how little, I'd appreciate it. It's not necessary, but it's very exciting for me whenever that ding goes off. We've got a great chordal warm-up today. We've got a great rhythmic study. We got all kinds of fun stuff in today's lesson. So let's get right to it. Here's our warm-up for today. It's a nice chord progression, and when you get it under your fingers, it's going to help us navigate through Misty. So sounds like this. And okay, it's just really lovely, and there's a lot of nice inner movement. G13. Flat 13, C sus, sus flat 9, pointer finger's doing a lot of work. We get to another sus chord, and into the melody. And then a chordal embellishment there, right? So there is a lot of finger legato that's required to do this, like a lot of sticky finger technique, where multiple fingers are staying stuck to the piano while other fingers are moving independently. You know, so that's the first move that you have, okay? So I don't want you to rely on the pedal too much and then just lift your hands every time. I want you to use called finger legato. So do this one here, and then now you can rely on the pedal after the first 2 chords. And you do the next ones. And to practice finger legato, because it can be kind of uncomfortable, is you want to lift the fingers that are moving like really high. And you can see here on my camera, like, you know, my fingers are like pointing all the way almost vertically, right? And that's just to practice. You know, when I do it for real, they only go like halfway. But you want to get those fingers up in the air, and then pedal. And then again, you can rely on the pedal after every 2 chords, right? Finger legato. And here we have a complete change of hand position. Now I have 3 voices in the left hand, right? And the melody comes in. Okay, so that might be all that you can handle for today, right? Because this is supposed to be a beginning jazz course, but that's okay. We've got plenty of time, so work through that progression. That's our warm-up for today. So continuing our journey into Misty, I'm going to play what we have so far, and then I'll play just a little bit more what the new part for today is. So here we go from the beginning of Misty, and break. All right, here we're ready for our next section. And then here's the warm-up. Hope you paid attention. Right? And that's going to complete our first A section. It's very exciting. So let's talk about this new material that we have. So as it's written, I've written it in block chord form. There's a pickup, and you want to use your outer fingers for the melody, 4s and 5s. It's okay to pedal. And basically, most of the important melody notes are accompanied by a strong chord. So I would just grip your chords and forget about the melody. So here's G minor, C minor 7, F minor 7, F over A, B flat 9, A flat 9, and then you can get into your warm-up. So how to change what I have on the page to sound it more interesting. So I have it in block chord form, but we've been doing so much movement, it's nice to do a little piano texture. Check me out. right? So I do outside and then the left hand rolls up. And these ones come together. So that can just give you a little bit of time feel. All right, that's one way you can approach it, okay? So sheet music is in the description. Do your due diligence, and then you'll have a really great tune. Okay, so I want to address a community question, which is hand independence. And they said, how do I gain hand independence, especially when I'm soloing? Is it just where I have the left hand, just lay it down and the right hand does its thing? Well, for today's lesson, yes. In an ideal situation, you would have independence of both hands, but this is a really, really good place to start. So we're going to use the bass line from all blues just kind of as our workhorse and practice area. So it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. With a swing feel. Da, da, ga, da, 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 ga, da, da, okay? And the right hand goes like this. I didn't write it down, but you can just copy. It's pretty easy. You get the grace note in if you want, or not, right? So I would start there, okay? Number one, can you do that, right? Can you have that swing feel in 3, okay? So if that's what you can do, the next step is to kind of do a little variation. So you see I'm filling in the space, right? Can you make that feel? There's a little variation right there. And once you do that, you can put it together. You can try that. Okay, so if that's getting too difficult, you can try this. You can just do the quarter note in your right hand. Just like that. Maybe you can try to move. Right? Can you do that? And so, at the end of the day, we all want to take like an amazing jazz piano solo, right? But it's the process that it's going to get us there. So your process, your mind space should be, I want to try to stump myself. I want to try to give myself a tongue twister that I'm going to have to practice to get out of. So you want to give yourself specific rhythms against this left hand, and you will get to independence. So these are some rhythms that I just showed you right now. Maybe you can just, make a riff. Like say, 1, 2, 3. Try that. That's one rhythmic idea. Maybe you can do. And so whenever I'm doing like specific rhythms against the left hand, you better believe that when I'm ready to take a solo, I can incorporate all those things and put them back together. That's another rhythm. You can vary it. That's messing me up. See, I gotta practice that. Let me try it. There you go. Maybe if I want, that's gonna stump me. Check this out. Right? I had to work that out. Oh. Right? Right. So the fun is challenging yourself and then overcoming that challenge. I hope I just demonstrated it right there, because I just stumped myself, right? And so when I get to do my solo, like I'm going to do that cross rhythm, okay? So that's just a great way to start and get you going on hand independence. Okay, so the other community question I had this week was, how do I solo over Misty? When we're soloing, especially in a solo piano context, you might be accustomed to thinking of soloing like this. right? Where you have like this left hand playing, you know, quarter notes with some nice rootless voicings or something, and then you can just kind of solo over that. And that's actually not a bad strategy. In a trio setting, that works really, really good. And even Brad Meldaw does that. Keith Jarrett will do that, where they'll just play, you know, beautiful voicings in the left hand, quarter notes with good pedal, and just take a really beautiful solo. And that works well on ballads. Mozart even does that in his writing. So, but when we're playing solo piano, that kind of gets a little bit boring, right? So you want to think first about what your time feel is. So Misty is a ballad, and it's in 4/4. So I'm be thinking 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So the left hand might do and, you know, something like that, like eighth notes, even just something as simple as that. And so in this instance here, I'm using like an eighth note subdivision, right? And that's going to just kind of inform your left hand. And of course, you want to play just beautiful melodies in the right hand. And every now and then you can support it with some chordal movement. Just knowing voicings, knowing different things at the piano. It takes a long time to get there because you have to build that vocabulary. But if you just needed something simple to get you through the day, the left hand probably you can just do like root, fifth, ninth, third, or just some, you know, chord tones, something like that. Because all the color stuff is going to come from the left hand, I mean the right. Right, so your left hand can play the more basic stuff, just the really basic rhythms, eighth notes, and then it can play the basic chord tones, roots, thirds, sevenths, and then the right hand can play all the colorful fun stuff.